Yo, what is up everyone? This is JG and here is my cup of tea. Rocking the old Spidey mug right here. So let me know if you're about, if you're checking in, just drop your name in the comment section. This is episode 1 of Cup of Tea with JG. So if you are joining us, welcome. Absolute privilege to have you here. And I wanted to start off by asking you what are you on? What are you drinking? I personally am on green tea with a hint of pomegranate. So take from that what you will. Hello, Laura. How are you doing? The second question I wanted to ask you was with the intention of shifting that Sunday focus to something more positive, and like I mentioned for you guys that read the little post I made when I started this, is that one of the whole ideas of this is to shift that focus from the FML, it's Sunday, oh my god, all this stuff you've got that you're not looking forward to coming up in the week, to things that make you happy, things that put a smile on your face. So what's one thing right now that you're happy about, or that you could be happy about? Because I promise you, even if you're like, well, there's nothing, there is. And it all starts with, intentionally or consciously choosing to shift that focus. Now I think, admittedly, it's almost so routine, isn't it, for a lot of us, to kind of almost just subconsciously slip into that pattern of when we hit Sunday night for those thoughts to come flooding in. So it's going to take a little bit of effort. It's going to take a little bit of conscious effort to override what is habitual. But you can do it, right? And when we're all doing it together and we're all in this together, I think it makes it that much easier. It's got Kate, hello, good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. So drop in that comment section, please. Feel free to share something that you could be happy about right now. The other thing I wanted to mention as well, to kind of preface this video, is that, and as I mentioned in the sort of intro post that I made, is that it's all good. Honestly, you can be as involved in the conversation as much or as little, or not at all. It's however I want this to be. Whatever you want it to be for you, I want you to feel comfortable. I think the beauty of this is that for all the criticism that social media gets, is that I think it's got a beautiful power of connecting us and bringing us all together far and wide across the globe even. And this is all about trying to feel good on a Sunday night. So there's absolutely no pressure to participate when I'm asking any questions, or asking to throw something in the comment section. It's entirely up to you. So it's all good. So something I'm happy about is doing this, because I was thinking about it for a while, and I don't know if you can relate, if you've ever had a kind of a situation like this, or a feeling like this, where I know it sounds super cliche, but it's true in the way I see it. Is almost like your kind of soul is speaking to you, like that little whisper that initially, I was kind of snuffing it out and going, oh no, it's not that. Like, there's other stuff that I've got to do, and I was filling my time with all this stuff, important stuff and things that needs to be done. But I thought, but no, I mean, I feel like this is something I feel really passionate about. Something that I've been thinking about doing for a while, and it was actually watching a sort of video on a similar vibe, that Nicola Buckley was live streaming last Sunday. I thought, why the hell haven't I done this yet? Why am I not doing it? Why am I ignoring that part of me that's really urging me to do this, and that feels strongly about it? So I'm really happy about doing this, because it's something that if I can do anything to help you guys out and put a smile on your face, then that puts a smile on my face. So super happy to be doing this. Super grateful to be here with you guys, and yeah. So the goals, so to speak, and I've already kind of mentioned a couple of them, is to try and have a bit of a change of association of what of maybe the way that you regard Sundays at the moment, to make it something that you're kind of actually looking forward to. You know, you've got this, rather than something that you're dreading. And we're going to go through a couple of things today. It's probably going to be about 20 minutes or so. I've just decided that's about the duration that I'm going to shoot for. I mean, I could, if you know me, I can talk literally forever. I think the first Facebook Live video I did was something ridiculous, like maybe it was over an hour. So if for the committed ones in the crowd, like if you even make it 20 minutes, like props to you. Like that's an achievement in itself. So yeah, I've written down a couple of things here, and yeah, involvement, something to look forward to, change the association, and I wanted to share a couple of lessons that I've had, reflections that I've had personally, that I thought, oh yeah, maybe that would be helpful and like cool to share, and feel free to share some of your own ones that maybe you've had over the past week. Kathy, good evening to you. Great to have you. So the first thing, we're talking about that whole you know, subject of happiness, I was actually told by a close friend of mine, and this seems like such a simple tip, but it was really revolutionary to me. And sometimes, you know, I think we kind of think that these things have to be super complex, whereas a lot of times is the most effective things are actually very simple. Anyway, what she told me was that this kind of simple formula for happiness, and it was looking for the little things every day that put a smile on your face, and do more of that. I know, right? Like, it's like duh, but I thought, you know, I have a lot of times slipped into, I don't know if you can relate to this, but slipped into that thinking like, I'll be happy when, like it's some moment in the future, and it's going to be packaged in this big kind of grandiose moment that I will eventually reach. But of course, we're always kind of moving the goalposts inevitably, and I think that if you're only focused on seeing happiness in this certain package that you're expecting to see it, you'll miss all of the, you know, numerous moments that's happening in the everyday. And the other point I want to make on that note is that and you probably hear this quite often as well, it's like, oh, I can't wait for the weekend, that's when I'll be happy. Or you know, we've got winter coming up, obviously. I know that's a time when a lot of us start to get down in the dumps. I mean, I friggin' hate winter. I know not everybody does, but I mean, I love summer. I love the you know, the having sort of longer days, having it lighter in the evenings, being able to be outside for longer and that kind of stuff. However, if you slip into that kind of mindset of going, you know, whether it's I'll be happy at the weekend, or I'll be happy once summer rolls around again, or I'll be happy when I hit that holiday, like, don't get me wrong, it's great to have those things to look forward to, but if you condemn yourself to feeling unhappy if you decide that's the only time you're going to feel happy. And like, if you're only going to be happy at summer, you spend the majority of the year feeling down. And what I wanted to kind of suggest to you, as I'm kind of actively trying to do myself, is one, you could think of it in like small picture, like week to week, day to day view, is be on the lookout for those little things in the everyday that you can feel happy about. Because I promise you, if you keep your eyes open for them, you can find them. And it means that, yeah, of course, you still enjoy the weekend, that's great. But it changes that kind of association that the weekends are when I feel happy, but then I won't feel happy in the week. I promise you, there's loads of stuff. And if you're struggling to think of anything, why not think about what you could put in your week? Like, what stuff could you, what are the things that generally put a big old smile on your face, and how could you do more of that? How could you incorporate more of that into your week, right? So maybe have a think about that. See what pops up for yourself. The other thing on that note is that, you know, in winter, this is one that I know is tough for a lot of people. But remember, like, there are perks to everything, and I think about, you know, maybe even, I mean, I suppose an obvious one is Christmas, but, you know, like hot chocolate, stuff like that. I mean, to be honest, I probably drink them the rest of the year anyway. But you know, it's kind of like a winter thing. Christmas markets, that'll be coming up soon, and I absolutely love those. So think about the stuff that, especially if you're a like friggin' hate winter person, think about all the cool stuff, all the things that you could feel happy about in the winter, in the colder months. So that's a couple, and the last sort of point I wanted to chat about, and again, maybe some of you guys can relate to this, but it was a reflection I came to when I was chatting with my friend Clee, and we were talking about, like, I was getting frustrated at being a bit hard on myself about making progress with this project I was doing. I feel like, damn, I don't feel like I'm making enough progress in this, and kind of getting down about it and feeling like I should be further than I was. Just realised I've not actually drunk any of this since the start of the episode. Anyway, what she brought my attention to, she was like, think about where you were 7 or so months ago, and I was like, Jesus, because at that time, even making goals and working on projects was not on my radar, far from it. Just getting through one day to the next was an achievement for me. And I thought, wow, you know what? We're so quick to forget about where we were when we get wrapped up in just in the here and now, and you know, goals that we've got in the future. So again, it's the same sort of thing as that, like with the holidays and the weekends, is that it's not to diss those things, not to say, oh yeah, you shouldn't be looking forward to those things at all. Just in the same way that it's awesome if you're ambitious, if you've got projects that you're working on. Yeah, hell yeah, do that stuff. But remember, like, when you hit those, one thing is that if you're really pushing yourself, it's going to be inevitable that you're going to hit more challenges. And that's, you know, it's easy to then go, oh, it's just me, like, I'm shit, or blah, 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 blah. But in reality, it's a sign that you are pushing your limits, that you're going and doing difficult stuff. So there's no need to kind of take it as a reflection upon you. If anything, take it as a reflection upon you in a positive way, that you're getting after it. You are stretching yourself, and you're going to be growing that much more as a result of it. So if you're pushing yourself on something, if you've got any projects that you're working on or things that you're striving towards, and if you want to, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear about the stuff you're getting after. For me, one of those things is my podcast, which is, again, I started it with a spark of inspiration, something that I feel like I was being called to do, but had been ignoring it for a long time, and I got it started, and I've not regretted a single moment of it. It's been an absolute blessing. I've enjoyed it so much, and yeah. So if you've got anything that you're working on, feel free to throw that down in the comment section. And the second thing was, so remember, when you feel feeling down about those things, just go back and think about where you were not so long ago. Think about where you were, and you can stretch that back as far as you want. And remember about being aware of the inevitable struggles that you're going to encounter when you push yourself. It's no different to when those of you who go to the gym. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're doing a squat or bench press or shoulder press or whatever it is, a workout, and you're pushing it, and you're pushing to a weight that you haven't done before that's tough for you, it's gonna feel hard, isn't it? But you're not drawing a conclusion out saying, oh yeah, I'm not strong, like I'm shit or whatever. You just know that you're pushing after a weight that's that's deliberately kind of slightly exceeding your capacity a little bit to get stronger. The same thing's true of just life situations and goals that you're striving to attain, right? The second thing, or third thing, I think I said the second thing about 5 times that. But the other thing I wanted to mention is, so comparing yourself to yourself, comparing yourself to your previous self or where you were, and comparing yourself to yourself in the sense that it's very easy to end up slipping into, oh, you know, I'm not as good as that girl at this or that guy at that, on blah blah. And I think when we see people a lot of times, that we put them on a pedestal, we overestimate them and we underestimate ourselves, and we're often kind of seeing a snapshot of them in a certain moment, and we're making these kind of speculations as to a lot of the stuff they do. So remember, like, it's kind of it's a recipe. What is this track? It's a bit of a recipe for, I think, getting down if you're constantly comparing yourself to others. Now, again, there's a positive there, is that I think if you've got people in an area, you know, that you're trying to excel in and strive in, it's good to have somebody to push you. I mean, I seem to relate everything to workouts, but it's good to have somebody who's actually a bit better than you, someone to kind of chase after, so you push yourself that much more. So it's good in that sense, but don't get fooled and slip into that trap of constantly just comparing yourself to yourself. Do your best, and your best will always get better. And compare yourself from where you are now to where you've been, and give yourself a pat on the back for pushing yourself. You know, that is something that I think is so cool for those of you that are pushing out your comfort zones. A lot of people, remember, don't do that, and a lot of times we compare ourselves to people who are better, whether they are or they aren't. But if you're going to compare yourself to others, you've got to compare yourself to the whole spectrum, because there's a huge amount of people behind you, as there are, you know, if not more than there are actually, you know, in front of you. And so I think it gives you a much more balanced perspective when you see things that way. Last but not least, to kind of wrap up for today, a couple of things to think about shifting your focus for the week ahead. So what's one thing that's important to you that you would like to take a step towards over this next week? And once you've thought of that thing, or maybe you just know it straight away, right, if you feel comfortable, put down what that thing is and what step you're going to take this week, or steps you're going to take this week to get towards it. So throw that out there if you want to. I think there's a massive power in writing things down than just saying it in your head. But again, obviously, whatever you feel comfortable with. So that's one thing. And the other thing I was going to ask you is to shift your focus towards not just yourself but other people. Is what's one thing this week you could do to brighten up somebody else's life? And it doesn't have to be a huge, gigantic gesture. I think, again, it's like the littlest things, like sending someone a text, like buying them a coffee, letting them know you're thinking about them. It can be hugely meaningful. You know, telling that person what they mean to you and how much you appreciate them. That's big. That's big. Like, a lot of times I think we think these things, but because there's so many of those things go unspoken, those people have no idea. So that's a suggestion. But again, if you've got your own, yeah, go for it. I think we all, one of the things I wanted to achieve from this is just kind of bringing us together, remembering that even though those times when you feel alone and you feel like, you know, the weight of the world is on your shoulders, you've always got us. You've always got this this guy right here with a cup of tea and his Spider-Man mug. So if all else fails, you know that you've got this to look forward to on a Sunday. So that probably just about wraps us up for episode 1 of Cup of Tea with JG. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you found it useful. Please, honestly, feel free to message me either personally if you've got anything on your mind you want to talk about. I mean that sincerely, or anything that you're anything you're proud of, any achievements that you've made in your pursuit of goals that you're after. I'd genuinely love to hear it. So keep going, fist bump. You've got this. We're here with you, and I'll see you again same time next week. All right, take care.